couple races ago, nobody grew up dreaming about driving these cars. That to me was very telling for him to say that. This is not they didn't dream of like, oh, I'm going to harvest here and I'm going to go full throttle, but my car's going to cut off. Like, that's not what they're dreaming about, right?
The aura for him is just non-existent. It's bone dry for him. And then, you know, him being pulled over, obviously him getting upset, and then him having to wait in front of the entire stands and essentially perform in front of them because, like, he's just there waiting for someone to pick him up. And he's just so damn memeable, and I feel so bad for him. I'm sorry he had to go this way. I really hope that things start to turn around.
It was so exciting. Any Lewis fan should be so happy about the Lewis that we're seeing and that we saw in Montreal, because there's something there.
So we're just going to jump into it.
Yeah. We're back.
We're back. We're back. And we have a very special guest, Lali Michelsen. Michelsen. Yes.
Great last name. Great last name.
Yes. She
Hi, guys.
is the creative director, writer, and podcast host and co-founder of Business of Speed. We're really excited to have her on. She knows so much about motorsports in general.
Yeah.
I am excited to pick your brain about all the different things that you're doing, and also for us to talk about the Canadian Grand Prix.
Yes.
Which is always exciting.
Yeah.
It's where, you know, at least one groundhog just winds up getting killed. And there's always something going on with the groundhog there.
We were joking around. There's always one sacrificial groundhog that needs to just, you know.
Minimum one. There might have been a second one this year, actually.
I believe so. Yeah. But, you know, we're really excited to have you on. Thank you so much for joining.
Show.
Yeah, welcome.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be here, actually, and I think it's really appropriate that I'm here after the Canadian Grand Prix. Not only because I live in Canada, I'm in Toronto, but also perhaps because of the name of the podcast. I'm thinking that Turn 14 has something to do with the Wall of Champions, or am I totally off?
Ooh. You know what?
That's actually a really good question.
We're going to say sure. Sure. Everyone tries to guess where Turn 14 or why Turn 14. We had someone think it was like something for like Alonso or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more like personal for us.
Yeah.
Turn 14 is a family number. My dad would wear it all the time during like baseball. Pretty much our whole family would wear 14 when they would play softball and baseball. Yeah. And it's just been a family number, so that's where it really came from, to be honest.
Father's birthday is April 14th.
Okay.
So it just kind of
it works out.
It's our favorite number. It's our lucky number. It means a lot to us. It's a huge part of our identity, especially with sports. So it just so happened that most racetracks have insane 14 corners. Turn 14.
Yeah, Turn 14.
So it's like a really
especially the Wall of Champions is like iconic.
This race.
Yeah,
for sure.
Every time the commentators are like, "And Turn 14," we're like, "Oh, we should clip that and use it for our podcast," because Alex Jakes gets me so excited. But you know, having to go through all that would be
exactly.
a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're super excited to kind of talk through it all. What an incredible weekend. Probably, I mean, this is my opinion, but I think the most exciting race of the year so far.
I agree, 100%.
It really was, guys.
Yeah.
Mark, you got me into Formula One right in like the middle of 2024. I think this is the most exciting race I've seen since then. It was great.
It was really good. I really loved seeing the Mercedes guys. Actually, it's no surprise. It was sort of Lewis and Nico throwback, really fighting.
Yeah.
I loved hearing them say after the race, Kimi particularly, he was saying that he felt like he was karting, that it was so fun, that it was very respectful. He didn't think it was like too tough. He was like, this was amazing. I'm so glad they let us do it. And apparently every time they were about to, call in on the radio and say, easy lads, it just sort of figured itself out. So exciting, right? It's exactly what we need. And I feel bad it didn't go George's way this time again.
I know.
Not like this,
Not
George.
like this, George. He gets like so much flack all the time. We give him a lot of flack too, but George is a very talented driver, extremely consistent, and I feel like he's probably one of the more underrated ones. I mean, a lot of people don't like him for many reasons, and it's just kind of like, okay. But you know, I was, you know, I got to give him a lot of credit. Even during the sprint race, you know, while Kimi being an animal, going after him, trying to overtake him in places where maybe you don't really try to go for an overtake. And the whole time you could see Kimi being so like aggressive and getting frustrated, which again shows that, you know, he's younger, he's excited, he's a little immature when it comes to those things, but he will over time start to mature a lot more and kind of control his emotions there. But George kept his cool the whole entire time. And I got to give him a lot of respect for that. The whole weekend, even after the unfortunate thing. I mean, I can't blame him for exploding, but
I know. I mean, I was talking to my friend Nick, and he was like, "Who do you have for today's race?" And this is talking about the main race. I was like, if George can make it to turn one, he got it. He obviously didn't make it to turn one, and it kind of caused this whole thing. But like you said, during the sprint, he was fantastic. He was the George. He was the George that we saw 2 years ago, the year before and 2 years ago when he won both races. So it was really great, and he was having a great weekend, especially after all of the doubt that has been put in front of him since Miami. I think it was great to at least push back a bit to some of those doubters and haters.
I think he says he never doubted himself, right? So a lot of us were saying, and I'm sure you guys were too, like, he needs a good result. He needs a good result. I don't think he thought he needed a good result because he thinks he's awesome. He knows what he can do. Mm-hmm. I agree with you guys. George is an elite driver who unfortunately has had a string of perhaps bad luck. Like even yesterday, that wasn't his fault. He suddenly came on the radio. He says, engine stop, no electronics, no brakes. That wasn't it's out of his control, right? So to think that he's completely out of this fight, like a lot of people are discounting him, I think would be naive because the guy has so much experience compared to his teammate. I agree also with the fact that Kimi's sort of wheel-to-wheel racing needs a little maturing, so to speak. Yeah. But he's 19. Then you remember, oh yeah, right, he's 19 years old. Right. So then you have to give him some grace. Give him some grace.
Yeah. I also think it's like really exciting to see because like he's young, he's aggressive. He has won 4 consecutive race wins too, and it's just, in a way, it's like I agree with you for sure. He has a lot of like maturity to go through, but it's also like it adds to the whole excitement for us, at least as fans watching, because it's been a while since we've had like a generational talent join the sport, and somebody like that coming in, just it's like a mix of everyone. You know, I'm seeing a little bit of Senna in him, Max in him, obviously. You know, the cool thing is too is that he has so many of the greats surrounding him as well, and they all like seeing him and Lewis and then Max and him. It's just really cool to see, and I just think I'm sure he's feeling great. You know,
well, so here's the thing. There's 2 sides to this. Yeah, one, Kimi is doing fucking incredible. And he is kicking ass, and everyone is praising him and are like, Kimi, you're going to be the next world champion. And then you have the other side, the dark side, where is this going to get to his head? Because he has been more on the radio, more feisty on the radio, like in the past, I guess specifically this weekend, where his dad, Toto, had to come on and be like, hey, papi, relax. Like, you need to chill. Like, we talked about this. Yeah. But, you know, is that going to get to his head? What happens when things don't go his way? What happens when he doesn't come into first? What happens when he DNFs? Like, is he going to be able to kind of accept that and kind of move forward? So this is, you know, the higher you go, the harder sometimes
it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, for sure.
It's
I was just going to say, it's the difference you see sort of, and we were talking about this all of last year, right? With Lando and Oscar. How Oscar is ice cold, keeps his cool, like he seems so mentally tough, right? And then Lando, you could see him get a little bit more explosive and he gets more aggravated. And I did have those thoughts yesterday during the race. I'm like, Kimi, chileate, you have to chill a little bit because you're getting a little worked up and you're not focusing on the task at hand. And at some circuits, you could probably get away with that. At another circuit, like at Baku, you're going to be in the wall. Yeah. You're not going to have time to get your act together, right? So I think that comes with time too, guys. Like, he's just, again, so young. And I mean, I was very feisty I'm still feisty, so I can't even imagine what I was like when I was 19, you know, in Formula One.
Yeah.
Yeah, the energy that Kimi gives right now it's so exciting though. Like you were saying, Mark, and it's just I hope that he keeps it up. I love the fact that he was kind of talking back on the radio and putting some pressure on the team to not kind of just discount him because he's racing his teammate. And but it goes to show just how George can get into his head a bit, and it's still so early. There's so much that can happen. I'm really excited to see these two go at it, and I'm hoping that it's not just both of them though, and that Ferrari and some of these other teams can actually put the pressure on them, because then you start seeing the true behavior when they're racing other people and not just their teammates.
Fair point.
Somebody left a comment on one of our reels the other day, like a few weeks ago, about how does somebody manage, like Kimi, like George being the senior on the team, Kimi being the junior, now Kimi's kind of like outshining George as a team. Like, how do you stop the fans and the people from going into Kimi's ear and hearing all the stuff on social media, and then George is hearing all the negativity, Kimi hearing all the positivity, vice versa, whatever. It's just like, how does a team principal handle that? And I think out of all the team principals that are out there right now, I think Toto is probably the best one that could probably properly handle that dynamic, because I just feel like he's so stern and so much, obviously so mature and so like about his business. And at the end of the day, I feel like also Kimi needs to understand too, it is a team sport at the end of the day too, and you also need to look out for the team too, because if you continue to do this and you continue to try to be super aggressive, you could wind up taking yourself out, or even worse, both of you and George out, and you both are out. And who knows that better than Toto Wolff, because Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton that one time. So
I think Toto, I think in front of the camera he's one way, but when it's behind the scenes he's like come here, like he would sit them down, tell them what the deal is and what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And I think Toto has a good handle on that. I mean, obviously he's so successful. But even when he came on the radio, I was a little just like nervous. I was like, damn, Toto's coming on. He's telling Kimi like, hey, chill. Like,
and I noticed that he's the one that doesn't mind going on the radio live in front of millions of people watching. He will say what he needs to say without anything, because it's like he's obviously Toto Wolff. So it's like, I don't know.
I also think that Toto has a sort of there's a father, you mentioned it before, there's a very nice dynamic that he has with Kimi, of a sort of authoritative figure. So I think that just hearing Toto's voice, it's like, okay, settle down, like immediately.
Right.
And I love this point of like, okay, so this young lad comes into a team with an established driver. If you think about it, that happened in McLaren years ago when Fernando Alonso was there and Lewis Hamilton came into that team.
Yep.
And Fernando Alonso had already won a championship, or he'd won two, right, with Renault. And he comes in, and Lewis doesn't care that this guy's a champ. Like, he's just like, I'm gonna race you, right? Like, I don't care at all like who you are. I'm gonna race you. And they raced very, very hard against each other that season. They got to the final race. It was sort of reminiscent of what happened again at McLaren, except it went their way last year. And then Kimi Räikkönen with a Ferrari sweeps in, wins the championship by 1 point, because the guys at McLaren just couldn't agree on who was the number one driver. They don't do that over there.
Right.
Obviously here it's different. George is not a champion he yet, right?
Sure.
So Kimi probably doesn't feel like he has to bow to him that much or acquiesce, because it's the start of the season. We're both on equal terms right now. So I don't think Kimi's thinking, oh man, I have to respect, and not at all. He's a racer, and he wants to win, and now he's won 4 in a row. So that, proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, I think he's broke history with that too. I think he's the only driver to actually do what he just pulled off, which is pretty. 4 consecutive wins is pretty impressive, and I'm sure that makes him feel like $1 million.
His first 4 wins have been consecutively. Yeah, that's the record, right?
Yeah.
No one's ever won their first 4 in a row.
Yes, exacky.
Crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
And
not
the problem
Michael, not Senna.
Yeah.
So.
The problem with George is that he's so damn memeable, and he is just
Oh.
it just doesn't. I just can't. the aura for him is just non-existent. It's bone dry for him. And then, him being pulled over, obviously him getting upset, and then him having to wait in front of the entire stands and essentially perform in front of them because like he's just there waiting for someone to pick him up, and he's just so damn memeable, and I feel so bad for him. I'm sorry he had to go this way. I really hope that things start to turn around for him quickly.
Yeah, not even like 10 minutes after the crash, I see post online him just standing behind the fence, just staring. Yeah, I'm like, no.
As soon as I saw it happen, it's like I'm watching a meme be created, like a meme being born.
Exactly.
Right
On top of all that, he got fined for throwing the head. So it's just like, he can't. Man, poor George. Yeah. It sucks because again, he's so talented. It's just so, man, it's. At some point, people hate him so much. I'm just like, I'm gonna start defending him now. It's like, don't you dare.
Well, Lali, you were talking about.
Yeah, I don't dislike him. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't dislike him either.
I don't dislike him.
I think he's just very memeable. And he's easy to kind of like poke fun of, I guess.
He needs some swagger.
Yeah.
He needs to hang out with us for 24 hours. I think
maybe. Maybe. Well, you were talking about Lewis, which is we can talk about him because he did incredibly well this weekend.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of driver of the days and stuff like that, which he ultimately won. But I want to say there should also be like a team of the day, because to see the difference in Lewis's engineering team, because throughout the race he was saying, guys, I need more power, and somehow over the course of maybe 30 laps they found it for him in whether that's like his harvesting or his deployment, and it fucking worked out, man. And it was incredible to see that he gave some feedback, they worked on it, and they delivered. And I think that's amazing
compared to last year. Absolutely
right.
So in general, I just want to speak to Lewis. I could see you're wearing your Ferrari jersey. What a guy! Talk about a talent, but also the grit, the perseverance. This man only has one gear, and it's top gear. He's already made it clear he's not going anywhere. That man is going to do everything in his power to get his 8th championship.
Yeah.
And I hope so. Really, if we get more of the Lewis we saw yesterday, please stick around for many years to come. I think that yesterday was one of the best days that I've seen him, not only on track but off after the race in a very long time.
Yeah.
He seemed happy. He had that spark in his eyes. He looked like he was 10 years younger. He seemed excited about the Ferrari project as a whole. He seemed really happy with his team, with the engineer, with the strategy. It seemed like Lewis of old, just a little bit more humble perhaps, because obviously they're not winning, but it was so exciting. Any Lewis fan should be so happy about the Lewis that we're seeing and that we saw in Montreal, because there's something there. And if they can figure out how to get more power into that car, how to catch Mercedes, then we could have a second half of the season that'll be very, very exciting for Ferrari. Especially we're going into Monaco. I think the Ferraris are going to do very well at Monaco.
Absolutely.
And man, oh man, will the world collapse if he wins a race this year? That would be fantastic. We need his mom there, guys. His mom is a lucky charm.
That is true.
His mom was there, and he did fantastic.
Yeah. So. He was aura farming all weekend. And I mean, from the interview saying, I'm not going anywhere, I'm going to stick around, to him now finishing, P2. Yeah, that's an aura farming.
I think that's also because there was these random rumors about him announcing a retirement in Silverstone. I'm just like, what? Whoa. That was going around social media. People were kind of talking about it, and I'm sure he caught wind of it, and I'm sure he had to make sure to be like, hey, like, I'm staying. Fernando Alonso's still here. I'm still here. So.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's.
But also, he's finishing on the podium. Yeah, you don't retire if you're finishing on the podium. I remember. I don't know how much you guys followed tennis, but I remember for like 10 years before Roger Federer retired, people were talking about his retirement, and I'm thinking he's winning the French Open. He's winning Wimbledon. Why is this guy going to retire? He's winning tournaments. He's getting to the semifinal and final of tournaments, right? And I feel the same way about Lewis. If he starts to do well and he's consistently on podiums, why would he retire?
I don't know.
Next year they're going to tweak that car. It's going to be even better. Yeah. And then he clearly feels he's one of the guys that actually has felt comfortable in this car. So I don't see a retirement anytime soon for him.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Yeah, this is my first time seeing like Lewis like in his prime. I mean, we've mentioned it a bit before where I've been a little disappointed with how things have gone. Last year was a whole chaos with Ferrari in general, but it's good to see him with a smile on his face and just like you said, he's a little more humble this time it seems, and I'm hoping Ferrari can hold him there and actually provide him something usable. I'm tired of seeing sad Lewis.
He's happy with his engineering team. He's happy with his team. So I mean,
It's too much.
It was horrible.
It's been a lot.
It was horrible, especially to see. I always remember, and I sound like a broken record, but I remember watching the 2021 season from the very beginning all the way to the end, and it was the most insane like season I've ever watched, and I think it will go down in history as probably one of the most intense seasons. And the fight between him and Max back then compared to now, you could just tell the difference. I feel like there's so much of a mutual respect now between them where, and I know Max still has another, I feel like Max probably has a bunch more in him to win championships for sure, especially if he goes to Mercedes, but that's a whole other conversation. But, but it was really cool to see him and Max kind of going at it a little bit, but respectfully, because in 2021, they weren't respectful at all. And it was just crazy. And I loved it. It was so entertaining, but there was something so awesome to see both of them go at it. And then for both of them to also get podium along with Kimi, that's just legendary.
What a crazy podium.
That was.
Like, you had to screenshot that shit because that was insane to see all three of them.
Those are like my three favorite drivers. Like, honestly, it's just so, it was awesome to see. It was amazing. So.
You probably think of Kimi, right? He's like, I am surrounded right now by 11 championships. Like, this is crazy. I'm getting, like you mentioned, I'm getting hoisted up by Lewis Hamilton is hoisting me up in the air. I can tell Lewis has a soft spot for Kimi, and I am here for that. He really likes that kid. I don't know if he's mentoring him. We don't know the personal dynamic, but he certainly is drawn to him. He seems to really be rooting for him, which just shows you the type of guy that Lewis Hamilton is, right? He just wants to support this guy who's in his former team. That team's like a family for Lewis, right? So,
and
it's
also,
really, and that battle between Max and Lewis.
Oh yeah,
it was so good to see. It was just kind of nostalgic in so many ways. It's just like to see them both go at it, like, and just also to give each other space, because that was just really, it was really cool. And I think, you know, and to your point about the relationship that Lewis and Kimi has, I do think there's something happening for sure. But I also think Kimi has a really, really dope bromance with Max Verstappen that I don't think enough people talk about, because during the Chinese Grand Prix in the paddock, you could see them both kind of sending kisses to each other, which is really funny. You don't ever see Max do that to anybody. Also, in Austria, I think it was
that bromance is led by Max, by the way.
100%.
Bromance led by, I don't even know Kimi knows he's in that bromance, but certainly Max knows he's in that bromance.
But it's great because like it goes back to, I think, Kimi's first season when he first started, and him in Austria, and he rear-ended Max, and they were both out. And Max, any other driver, Max would have exploded on them, but he just patted him on the back like it's okay. And from that moment, I was like, oh, there's something there. There's something between them. That
future teammates.
Yeah, future teammates. That's where, for me, I was like, oh, that planted the seed for Max and Kimi, you know, team dynamic. I'm sure we're going to see
It's interesting you say that, because I do think that Max, perhaps, maybe you're onto something in general about him having sort of a soft spot for rookies in general, because remember, he was really upset when they took Liam Lawson out of the team and sent him back after 2 races. And demoted him. Max was really upset about that. He thought it was very unfair that the guy didn't get a fair chance. Like, so he was defending him. I think Max, he's now become a sort of a senior statesman, which is crazy because he started when he was so young. And I think he knows that these guys that are younger, that are in their first or second year, they need help. They need time to develop. So I think that in general, he's sort of nice with the rookies, but for sure he has some kind of bromance with Antonelli for sure.
So, and honestly, he probably saved Liam's ass because Liam probably wouldn't have been around if he
it's pretty crazy. While we're still on the topic of the race, I did want to mention one thing because I want to know what you guys' thoughts were on lap 1 tire strategy between McLaren, because McLaren completely fumbled this whole entire race, like completely. I don't know what the thought process was behind starting on Intas. I saw it come up.
It was like a Christmas tree of all the different. We had medium softs, we had inters. I'm like, what is going on? And I think even Alex Jakes was like, I don't think I've ever seen this.
Yeah,
or something like this.
I don't know if they were expecting rain. Obviously, you know, Lali, you're from Canada. You know the weather out there. How maybe you could kind of.
So let me tell you something. Montreal is. Yeah, so I'll tell you something. Having been to the Montreal Grand Prix various times, it is such a gamble.
Yeah.
Because it can be the hottest thing. You could be roasting in the sun where you're just, it's uncomfortable. And then it can be raining and cold. You saw everybody was wearing jackets. Yep. It's very, very tricky with the weather. So like you guys, I was very surprised when the tire warmers came off and I saw the McLarens on interns. The caddies were also on interns, Audi and Sainz, right? So there were. I just want to make that clear. It wasn't just McLaren because I think that people think it was only McLaren. A few other teams did have the inters. Apparently, so when they were doing initial formations lap, it was very wet, and that was the tire to use. Obviously, it dried up quicker than certainly McLaren realized, but I think it was pretty obvious that the rain was sort of dissipating. Every weather map I had looked at, and I'm sure mine are very crappy compared to the ones that McLaren uses, had called for no more rain for the rest of the day. And I looked at the Weather Canada on the weather.com. I do fantasy F1, so I'm really honed in on weather, and I'm hardcore. So really, if I knew that there was going to be no more rain, I'm very shocked that McLaren didn't know that there was going to be no more rain. So they took a gamble on the track, either staying wet, not drying fast enough, or wet weather coming. And boy, was that an absolute royal disaster, right? Absolute disaster.
It was such a weird. It's a weird thing. To take the gamble is one thing, and Canada is a little unpredictable, sure, but they had the rarest opportunity of a second formation lap to go and change. Right, and it's just like, and even Oscar was like, maybe we just go in the pits and at least start there rather than having to spend the extra time during the race. And they still said no. Yeah. And they still said no, and I just at that moment I was just like, McLaren, you're just doing it to yourself. This is right. This was, we got a bunch of this last year. This is the very start of it again, and it just made zero sense to me.
I don't get it. No,
listen, Oscar was very frustrated, right, on the radio.
He was, and he kept calling it. They kept playing it. I'm just like, I don't know what the thought process was, but even my very I play the game a lot, the F1 game a lot, and they call it a simulator. I'm sure it's nothing near compared to the actual real racing. However, for me, at least the amateur that I am, I was telling you, Ben, I was like, wait, even in the game when it's slightly wet, like when and it's not raining, you're not expecting rain, even if the track is slightly wet, most of the time you want to do softs because will dry up quicker, it's stickier. And then if you're running intas, you need the water to cool them down because they heat up really quickly. And it's kind of like you're driving on slicks and wet with the intas, because if there's no water to cool them down, they get really hot, and then you have no grip, and then it's just impossible to race on intas. So I was just like, what's going on with McLaren right now? I was just like, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking. It was going through my mind the whole time. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
I can give them like a pass if they didn't have more than one fucking lap around. They were able to go around and look at the track, like Matthew said. Like, why wasn't that decision made? And you know what? Last year as well, Oscar had a lot of pushback in some of the strategy that McLaren was implementing.
Yep.
And it's just happening again. So I don't know if Oscar
just
or
drive
the
into
team-
the pits, Oscar.
yeah, he
just
should've just made
drive
that
into the
decision.
pits.
You know who
just
would've
make
done
it
that?
yourself. Just
Max
just
would have
force
done
him.
that.
Just show up. Just show
Yeah.
up.
Just show up.
Yeah, just show up. Max would have done
Pretty-
that. Alonso would have done that. Like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think.
I think that at that point, guys, the only logical reason why they didn't go into the pits to change their information labs is there must be, first of all, I think if the race hasn't officially started, that wouldn't count as one of the stops. So maybe they had something there with, and then the other thing is that at that point, then their tires would be the coldest, right? So at that point, they're thinking, okay, at least the inters will be hotter than everybody else's, will be quick off the start. Maybe we'll find whatever rain or wet is still on the track. Maybe they're hoping for an early crash and they can just get a cheap pit. Like there must have been some logical reason. I hope that they're thinking, you know what, we're gonna ride the strategy. But the fact that they put both cars on the tire, that's really what boggled my mind. Like, okay, split your strategy. I see, okay. But to put both on inters on a radar that showed no rain was coming.
It's a weekend for McLaren. It's one of those weekends where they just forget about it. Let's just move on because it was a really bad weekend for McLaren. I mean, you had Lando DNF. We had 6 DNFs total.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then you had Oscar taking a crazy attempt to take an overtake on.
So unlike him.
Yeah, that really is a little odd. And he went straight into, I believe, Alex Albon and completely just took out his side pod, like the side pods and everything. It was just really odd to see. And then, it was just overall a really bad weekend for McLaren, I gotta say. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, it's just we're gonna have to see what changes. I don't know if they came with any upgrades this weekend. I think only a few teams did, but I think Aston Martin came with some upgrades.
Yep.
Which was good to see, even though they still didn't really perform as well. But I think during the sprint and some qualies, we saw Alonso up there, which is like
it was really cool to see them finally something, because Aston Martin is just them and Williams, man. It's very disappointing to see, honestly. This especially Williams, I gotta say.
Yeah.
But I think listen, overall, it was a very exciting weekend. Again, Kimi winning 4th consecutive, Lewis podium, 2nd place, Max up there, and I think Charles Leclerc also had a very tough weekend. Almost hit the wall.
2nd race in a row where he almost loses it towards the end. I don't know. He's struggling a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Franco Colapinto coming P6. Really good results for him.
Mega.
Especially, I'm sure all the Argentinians are loving that. We had this one girl that was a huge Franco fan, and she was screaming every time he showed up on a screen. It was
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I love to see it. I talked a lot of shit about Franco, maybe a couple episodes of last year, and I said it that I don't think he's ready for Formula One. I get that he's in an Alpine. I get he's probably not in the fastest car out there, but to see him perform the way he has been over the past couple races, he's proven me wrong. Hand up, I think he's doing phenomenally well. In fact, I think he should have been driver of the day yesterday compared to Lewis.
That's
interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, he did do well, I would say.
So Franco, I'm with you. Franco, I've criticized Franco a bit and didn't often see him as very deserving of keeping that seat. But there's something about he has improved, but also he's quite likable. His personality is very nice. He's very sweet. And if anyone knows anything about the Latin American dynamic, we're often very hard on Argentinians. Because we often think that they're stuck up or that perhaps they think they're better than the rest of us. But Franco doesn't even give that energy at all. He's actually quite a likable, humble, nice guy. And I saw him. There's a great video. I don't know if you saw it in Miami. He was in the SUV heading toward the track, and some kid on the side of the road was wearing his jersey or something, and he stopped got out of the car in the middle of a road. And the kid's crying, and he's signing the cap, and it was I really liked seeing that moment. So he's growing on me, that Colapinto guy. Yeah.
Listen, he finishes in the points. He's gonna be growing on a lot of people, man. That's really, really great, especially for an Alpine.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the kindest team principal to report to.
Yeah,
so I'm sure he's doing well. And he's getting some good praise.
Listen, overall for Alpine, they both did pretty well, you know, because Pierre came in, you know, in 8th, and I think that's just good morale boost for the team in general. And you know, they're lucky that they became a Mercedes customer, so it's obviously working out.
I wasn't expecting Alpine to be the best of the rest right now, and it feels like they figured something out. They figured something out. It's supposed to be Williams, but you know.
Yeah, I know.
Until they turn into Gucci.
It sucks because I have a soft spot for Williams. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If I had to pick a team to do well, like a rando team, it would be Williams for sure, because it's a legacy team. Yeah. Absolutely, those people have been there forever. They've believed in that project for so long. I really like James Vowles.
It's so convincing.
Yeah.
It's such a pity that car is just a dog.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with it, man.
Just a dog of a car.
Yeah. It's tough, you know. So, but I mean, you know, again, Franco, Liam Lawson, Pierre Gasly, Carlos Sainz finishing in the points. So that's a good positive. And then we had Ollie Behrman and then Oscar after him. I'm not gonna go down the whole list, but I think that's just like kind of like the highlights of the top 10, top 11 drivers currently in the championship standings. We have Kimi Antonelli leading by 43 points. George Russell, yeah, I know, that's crazy.
That's great.
That's 150 points right now. We have Charles Leclerc in 3rd and Lewis Hamilton in 4th, and then Lando Norris in 5th. Teams wise, obviously Mercedes is just completely dominating, and I do think they're going to probably be the Constructors' Championship unless something turns around with Ferrari. Yeah. I think Ferrari. Yeah. I hope Ferrari has like some major upgrades coming, and I hope that they become, you know, a competitor to Mercedes, because not for nothing, I'm really tired of seeing McLaren up there. I'm not gonna lie, just saying. But yeah, I am.
Well, I mean, Mercedes, the gap to Mercedes has shrunk pretty significantly. Still a fucking gap, but I mean, it is shrunk. So I mean, you know, we'll see. We'll see.
And then we have Mercedes, Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, and Alpine. Look at that, like you said, Matthew. Alpine in 5th right now, best of the rest now. So, so that's the. You know, the kind of like a recap on the Canadian Grand Prix, a little bit of a current standings and all that. I do want to kind of shift gears and go a little bit into the regulations. I know, Lali, you have been a huge critic of the regulations. We were supposed to get a final say this weekend regarding next year. Yeah. I believe nothing has happened yet, so I wanted to get your thoughts on the regulations. Maybe if you wanted to kind of explain a little bit about what the regulations were.
Yeah. So these regulations have been in the books, or they've been, let's call them, they've been cooking up for quite a few years, okay?
Right.
Apparently, the impetus toward this was to attract more OEMs, more engine manufacturers, right? So in particular, they wanted to attract Audi and Ford. So they went with this sort of 50-50 combustion electric split, and they've been working on that for quite some time. Apparently, people had been voicing concerns behind the scenes. Nobody listened. So we ended up with these regulations. They do run on sustainable fuels, but there's a lot of energy that comes from the battery, and then the other half comes from the electric aspect. There's a lot of issues that happen. You guys have heard, and you've probably spoken about it, clipping and super clipping, because they have to harvest power, then they have to deploy power at certain times, and it creates very awkward situations where the drivers can be full throttle, but they've depleted the battery, so then they have to harvest more. So then they drop 50 kilometers an hour on a straight. They reharvest, then they come back, and it created that yo-yo racing that people have been complaining a lot about, that is more obvious at certain circuits and less obvious at certain circuits. We've seen guys like Max Verstappen be very annoyed about these regulations, right? We've heard Lando Norris doesn't like it very much. Charles Leclerc called it Mario Kart because it's taken away the 100% pure racing let's go. The FIA will not admit, and Formula One won't admit, that this was a debacle, that was a huge mistake, and that it's sort of no longer seen now as the pinnacle of racing. But in their own way, they're sort of starting to admit it slightly, because already they've made tweaks. They've made tweaks to how the formula works for qualifying. They're already talking about tweaking it for next year. Instead of a 50-50 combustion electric split, they're going apparently with a 60-40. Max Verstappen has said that that's the minimum they should, like, minimum 60-40. I think when I spoke to Karun Chandok on our podcast, Karun thinks 70-30 would be the sweeter spot. I don't think we're going to get to 70-30 just yet. And Karun explained something, because people said, why can't they just change it right now? Because that's a good question. Like, why can't you? It has to do with the fuel flow. This power unit was designed with a certain fuel flow. So to get more combustion, you need more fuel flow. But the cars were designed with this, every piece in the car was designed for this fuel flow, the valves, everything, right? So you can't just suddenly go to 70-30 from one day to the next. That lots of the car has to be redesigned, because the more combustion, the more fuel you need, okay? In parallel to this, when this is sort of maybe for some people who love the more sort of naturally aspirated V8s of a era in the past, the FIA president, Mohammed bin Suleiman, has already openly started talking about perhaps the return of V8s 2030, 2031, maybe a little bit before, it depends. And drivers and manufacturers are behind this. And one thing that could help propel this and make it actually a reality is that they will be way cheaper. The current engine we have, the current power unit, is incredibly expensive. If we return to the V8s with sustainable fuels, the engines would be cheaper, the cars would be lighter. And then not to talk about like the sound, the emotion, the nostalgia around those engines, right? So it would simplify the cars quite a bit. But man, we get the sound again, we get that emotion, and we still have the sustainable fuel. So we will have that aspect of sustainability. And I think part of sustainability should be having cheaper engines. The current engine is I find unsustainable in its price. It's way too expensive.
Interesting. This is you laid it out in such a way that if anybody is not too technical, they could clearly understand, but also like, you said it word for word, everything perfectly. I really appreciate you kind of going in and diving into that. Thank you so much for that, because like it goes into what I was saying last time too about the world also. You know, F1 sees where the world is going. You know, we have all these manufacturers outside of F1 too that are going into the electric cars. You know, you have the Tesla, the sustainability, blah, 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 all that stuff. But now we're seeing a shift with people realizing like, wait, like this is actually not super good for our environment and the earth because of the way the minings of the batteries and all that stuff. But also like you see kind of a shift away from the electric and like the electric vehicles. So I do kind of feel like F1 is seeing that, right? And they're like, we lean so heavily into the sustainability thing and try to look a certain way to brands and companies and, you know, sponsors, but it's gotten to the point now where it's affecting the fans, the audience, the drivers, everybody's criticizing it. So I feel it is the right time for them to now make the adjustments, and I do see them kind of following suit, and I agree with you 100%, because I did read that going to V8s will be a lot cheaper as well, which is good, especially for the teams that are behind, you know, that are spending probably a good chunk percentage of their budget that's going to the engine, you know. And then on top of that, we have a budget cap. Before, like maybe before the budget cap came with all this engine, maybe it would be a little bit different. Who knows? Because again, they could just pour so much money into it. But now they have a budget cap. They have an overly priced engine that's taking up a good chunk of their budget. Yeah. You know, there's this whole managing, like, what do we focus on? Do we put X amount into the engine? Do we do it into aero development? You know, all these kind of things. So, it's so complex. Yeah. It's so complex.
Yeah, but what do you say then to on the flip side? Because I always want to see both sides of this. I can understand it's just maybe yo-yo racing, but then, you know, we were just talking about the race before, how it was the best race of the season. It has been the most exciting that we've seen. The overtakes are fucking insane. Like now you have to now I feel like there's a split between people who really want that pureness and then you have people who are coming into the sport and are loving what they're watching. So now there's a balance that we need to address, or you know what I mean? It's creating this kind of line in the middle, which is exciting, but also like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, these races this year has been more entertaining for me without the DRS trains and just the kind of consistency of last year and stuff. And I think a big part of that comes from the battery on these cars providing some opportunity to do things differently throughout these tracks, better in some, and like you said, not ideal in others. But
and I think
I do think that the word purist has been. Oh, go ahead, please.
No, Lali, all you.
No, I was just gonna say that if you guys watch the Stefano Domenicali, the race interview, I do think that the word purist, which could refer to someone who's been watching Formula One for a very long time, so perhaps I would consider myself a purist. I started watching when I was a young child and have never stopped, like continuously watched, right? So they use this word purist, but they're using it almost like a curse word. Like the purists are stuck in their ways. They don't want to progress. We're sort of dinosaurs of an era past that only care about a certain thing and racing a certain way, and we don't care about entertainment. It's absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. There is a lot of drivers themselves saying these cars are not enjoyable. Lando said a couple races ago, nobody grew up dreaming about driving these cars. That to me was very telling for him to say that. Yeah. This is not they didn't dream of like, oh, I'm going to harvest here and I'm going to go full throttle, but my car's going to cut off. Like, that's not what they're dreaming about, right?
Yeah.
And for sure, it's perceived as an overtake, but when you overtake and back, that's not exactly an overtake. Typically, an overtake sticks, and then in a couple laps or something, they may get you back, but it's not so immediate, and it's not because you just lost power. It's because you went into the brakes a little bit later. You had more cojones in the corner and you just went, right? So or ovaries when it's the girls. So I do think that there is a point to what you're saying, that the racing can look very exciting for sure, but then if we talk about like, when was there ever a situation when we saw a start of the race like what we saw yesterday? Even that start alone, guys, it bugs me. We go and then
it's
like that whole thing.
For sure.
It's like
it's just awful. That whole start procedure is awful.
Yeah.
It really is.
I agree.
Honestly, you know, the funny thing is when Ben and I are at these watch parties and we have people that are like, oh, they see that we're hosting these watch parties, and then they know that we do a podcast. The first question they ask us, what do you think about the regulations? And I'm just like, all right, do you have a moment to sit down? Sit around a campfire. How long do you have? You know, and it's just one of those things. It's too much to say in a quick, like, kind of bar talk, but listen to the podcast, and you'll hear the opinions and our thoughts.
There's so many nuances to it. That's right. There's so much to it.
It is.
Yeah, and I think even Toto Wolff mentioned something about like going back to V8s would be, at least maybe I'm misremembering the quote, but I thought he said it would be a step in the wrong direction, because I think there are some teams, and obviously the OEMs really do kind of want this hybrid mix, but I do. The answer lies in the percentage between the two. 50-50, I think, has been clear from the start, kind of the wrong direction to go. But it also feels too rushed, maybe a little bit in my head, to just immediately say, okay, fine, drop the battery altogether. Let's just go back to V8s and forget about all of this. Because I think there is some room there to have it so that it's interesting.
I don't think they necessarily
more involved in it.
Yeah, I don't think they necessarily need to drop the battery completely. I just think kind of bring it back to the past not last year's generation of cars, but the one before that, like the W11, for example, where they had like ERS. You know, give like have a battery just for like some extra boost, maybe like here and there, but to like defend maybe. I don't know. I mean. So, it's tough.
I'm curious why. So we have Formula E, then we have now Formula One, which is now essentially Formula Hybrid. Like, why don't they
Right.
just come out with a Formula full-on fucking gas like version? You know what I mean? Like, why? It's just crazy to me. I mean,
I like Formula Hybrid.
Yeah,
You should trademark that.
Formula Hybrid. That's what it seems to be.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot, like you mentioned, Lali. There's a lot of nuances in the background that are playing, that are pulling the strings, companies and decisions. But you know, I mean, all we can do right now is give them our feedback, and it seems like it's working in some sense. They are making some changes, and that's all we can really ask for.
They got
I
pressure
think
from
Canada was the best of it, and I don't think we're gonna get that again,
especially not in
for
Monaco.
the rest of the year.
So
That's
especially
for sure.
not in Monaco. So all I gotta say to end this, for me at least, is that I am happy I don't work for the FIA and F1 right now. So I'm sure it's a lot of pressure.
But if y'all are hiring,
but if you're hiring and you want to sponsor a podcast, you know,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
we're open to having conversations here. All right.
Oh, that's good.
Any closing thoughts on the regulations from you, Lali?
I think my closing thoughts are basically that we push for so long, or they push for these sort of hyper complex hybrids. It's what they wanted. They worked on them for years and years and years. And now all of a sudden we're all romanticizing simpler, louder engines, which is what the fans loved. And I think that we're headed in that direction. So I do think that what F1 is caught in between a rock and a hard place, right? We're stuck with these cars as they've been designed for this power unit, so they cannot pull the plug. So they're going to try to. It seems that they mean well. I'm starting to believe that they do mean well. I didn't for a while. That they do mean well. That they're going to try to tweak this current power unit as much as they can to give us like great racing, so the drivers are also happy racing the cars. And then I think they're going to pivot in a completely different direction, whether that's going to be the V8s or not. But I think that in 2030, 2031, we will be seeing a completely different power unit. That's my final take.
Sure.
I love it.
Good take.
I love it. Other thing I really wanted to talk about, we can maybe keep it a little brief, if anything. F1 Academy, they had a race weekend. They had a race this weekend. And we had one of our, we're fans of one particular driver, Ava Dobson. She had a pretty tough weekend, but shout out to Ava Dobson. She's fantastic driver. Really unfortunate what happened, but it is exciting to see her up there and she's racing.
Absolutely.
And so I guess for you, Lali, I wanted to get your thoughts on F1 Academy. We have some criticism ourselves, and it's more of like ways on how to make it better and more entertaining, because for us, I feel personally that if you really want these girls to start racing in other series and really prepare them for F1 or anything F2, or just to make it more entertaining, get more sponsors involved, we have to change the chassis of these cars. We have to give them something more than what they currently racing, because it's really tough to see how incredibly slow these cars are, but just how difficult it is
little they can do
sometimes for the overtaking. And
no overtaking. There is no overtaking. It's either a crash or some major lockup, and the girls deserve better than that. That's my opinion. We mentioned in our last conversation, they deserve more. They give them a DRS, give them something to kind of actually fight, because right now all we're seeing is just one big train, and there are girls that can do it. Ava Dobson being one of the more aggressive ones. Alicia Palmowski, who is just running away with it. Like, give her some competition, and I just don't think those cars have it right now.
So lots of thoughts on F1 Academy. I just want to start with let's all appreciate that, like, the motorsport talent pipeline is brutally financially restrictive, right? Like, it is very hard to get the finances to be in motorsport, and visibility matters. So this series gives women visibility, so I do appreciate that. I think that the the major mistake with the series to start with is that it's called F1 Academy, because I think that people think that these women, if they do well, are likely under consideration for an F1 drive, because the name is F1 Academy, which would make sense. I don't think, and you guys obviously know because you know the car is slow, I don't think a lot of people realize that car is basically an F4 chassis.
Yep.
It's not an F3 chassis. It's not an F2 chassis.
Yep.
It's an F4 chassis that only has 174 horsepower. That is very little horsepower. An F2 car has 620, 30 horsepower, right? So it's not even in the same realm as an F2 car. And F2 is the last rung before Formula One for most drivers, right? So these women are in an F4 car that is very slow, doesn't have a great top speed, doesn't have a lot of horsepower.
Can't do much
and
setup.
then they're expected to shine like a different setup. It's just, I don't think that, to your point, that they've been giving the tools to shine. I also think that it should be more of an F3 or F2 style car to actually prepare them for Formula One or for IndyCar or for more high profile racing jobs. If you think about the last three champions, the only three champions we've had it in 23, we had Marta Garcia. She basically doesn't have a 2026 driving program. She's doing a little GT3 racing here, endurance racing over there, right? Then the lovely Abby Pulling, who won in 24, she is in GB3, which is basically what used to be British Formula 3, which is still one rung below the FIA Formula 3, right?
Yeah.
So still a ways to go. And she's already 23 years old, which is so young, but also we know not so young when you're in racing, unfortunately. Yeah. And then we have Dorian Pam, who we saw yesterday sitting next to Toto. She's racing in European Le Mans, but she's even she's in the LMP2, but in the Pro-Am class. Okay, so that matters, that differentiator. And she's doing some development driving for Mercedes. She's also the Gen 4 Citroën development driver for Formula E, right? None of those jobs are like, oh wow, the dream job of racing that I always wanted since I was karting when I was 5 years old, right? And these are the three champions of F1 Academy. Yeah. So either they need to up the car so that they're more prepared to slot into a better job after F1 Academy, or there needs to be some guarantee of some. I don't know, guys. I want to hear your thoughts on.
First of all, I respect the shit out of Susie Wolf. I absolutely love her. I think she is a fucking powerhouse, and the fact that she was able to get all this together just goes to show the kind of pull that she has. And I think for her, I'm sure the goal is to exposure. Let's get everybody interested in watching. They got the Netflix series that came out. I'm not too sure entirely how that went. I don't know if we got a second season. I don't know if we're ever going to get a second season, but I know she's doing what she needs to do to try to get eyeballs on it. I would assume more money, more interest. Hopefully they could get like an F3 car, an F2 kind of chassis, maybe like an in-between, because you're right, 100%. You need to give them something that they could drive and show off their talent, where somebody in an F2 team or even an F1 team be like, I want you in my junior academy. I have you in my driver development. Let's get you as a reserve driver. God forbid something was that. Now that would be huge, and I think I believe that might be obviously the path that they would love for this to go, but I don't think that would happen if they continue to use the chassis that they're currently using. And I get it's super expensive. So but I love Susie. She's great.
They just need more, and I think that even as simple as giving them a quicker car, that'll get more eyes on it. I think another problem too is you have these F1 Academy races happening at the same time as the F1 races, and the comparison is so in your face right then and there to see like is this really what we're expecting between the two, and it just feels off.
To your point, Matthew,
it does. I do think that there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like they should be more strategic on which tracks to showcase F1 Academy, because doing F1 Academy in China, for example, was
It was brutal.
it was brutal to watch because that is a extremely large track. That what is that, a quarter mile, not even a third of it's almost a mile long straight that they
Just
have.
straight. Yeah.
And it's just really slow. They already reached top speed a third of the way there, and they're just going really slow down that straight.
Yeah.
And
Even
don't
when
know.
trying to catch a slipstream, they just can't get past each other.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Give them a button so they can overtake and have them actually fucking race.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe they need some batteries in those cars, right?
Yeah.
I just want to see
They
more
need a
overtakes.
push to pass, push to pass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
I need it
You know,
because
the good thing about it. Oh, I was just going to say, I think that the good thing about F1 Academy, which I don't think matters deeply to the drivers that are in it right now, but it is sort of normalizing entering karting for other young girls.
100%.
So
Sure.
these girls, by seeing these girls in F1 Academy, maybe young girls will go into karting. They'll stay in the system longer, because that is another problem that karting has, is that the girls drop out because it feels a little hopeless for them. Not because it's never that they're not fast. It's just because people ask, you can imagine I've gotten this question for decades. Why aren't there any more female drivers, right? Why aren't there more women driving? It's a numbers game. There's 22 people on Earth who drive a Formula One car. There is no more elite job. You know, look how many people play in the NFL, or how many top golfers, or if you think about the wonderful jobs that one would like to have, there's been more people in space than there are Formula One drivers in any given season, right? So for those 22 to be there, how many millions of kids didn't make it? Millions upon millions. So it's attrition. So when I spoke to Karun Chandok, he said for there to be a Formula One driver soon, we need to see who is the top karter, who's the top girl karter in the world right now, who is really making a name for themselves in karting, because that's who's going to do it. Unfortunately, the girls who are in F1 Academy right now are not likely going to be in F1. But the girls who are karting right now, who are coming up the formulas, so there's Ella Häkkinen, the daughter of two-time world champion Mika Häkkinen. She has a lot of buzz behind her, McLaren supporting her. And there's this Swiss girl, Chiara Batig. So those two girls, keep an eye on them. Those are top world level karters. They could be the ones that we see one day. But yeah, Karun was saying, like, the girl who's going to be in F1 is like 15 right now. She's certainly not 22 right now.
And I think one of the other things is just extremely expensive. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of talented drivers that are out there that can't necessarily continue because their family just doesn't have the funds to continue racing. I'm sure there's a bunch of other little Max Verstappens and Kimi Antonellis out there and Lewis Hamiltons out there that are even girls, you know, that may just have that natural talent, just don't have the financial backing to pursue that. So it's tough. It's tough.
What Susie is doing is right.
Yes.
What she's doing is getting exposure, getting more eyes on the sport from both a male and female perspective, which is a fucking win 1,000 times. That's an incredible feat, what she's doing. And to give, you know, we actually had Ava Dobson on before she was announced for F1 Academy. And just to hear her stories, to hear what she's going through, and now to see where she's at now, first of all, that's incredible. That's amazing to see.
But she was driving GP4 in Europe as well, and in Saudi Arabia, and in a different series too. And she was doing really well before, you know. So and that's maybe something that we should ask her, like, what are the differences between these? You know,
we just want to see them at their full potential, and I think that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know, I agree with a lot of everybody was saying here. You know,
we'll see. We're actually going to be speaking with her in a couple days. Get her thoughts about the race. And, we'll be excited to chat with her.
Yeah, she's awesome. I really enjoy her a lot. So, Lali, so let's get into you as a personality, your businesses that you're getting into. I wanted to get a I wanted everybody here to learn a little bit more about what you're doing. What is Business of Speed? Any other things that you're working on? You mentioned that you're kind of doing your own things too. So maybe tell us a little bit more about you as a personality in the space and motorsports. You have a lot of experience. You've interviewed some awesome people, like
very jealous. By the way.
Will Buxton, James Hinchcliffe. Like that's freaking awesome. That's a really, 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 really cool resume.
Tony Kanaan, Mario Andretti.
So brag, go ahead.
Very lucky.
Bragging rights. Name drop though.
Yes.
but the floor is yours.
So I'm a creative director by formation. So I worked in advertising for many, many years. I did a lot of automotive, so a lot on automotive, but also all kinds of consumer packaged goods and pharma, spirits. So all over the place as a creative director at nice, lovely, big advertising agencies. Did a lot in real estate. And then I met my business partner, Vincenzo Landino, and we sort of he'd been working on Business of Speed as a newsletter for a long time, but we took it into sort of a more podcast arena as well. And we do focus a lot on off-grid activities in general, but obviously when you're talking to Mario Andretti, a lot of it is on, we want to hear about what's happening on track as well. And in a very short period of time, we have been so lucky, guys. Sometimes, like I said, Tony Kanaan, someone who I adore, who's won the Indy 500, James Hinchcliffe, Canadian, who I also adore. I honestly forget, like Mark Priestley, who was on the McLaren team when the Alonso Hamilton thing was happening, right? That was a big deal. Karun Chandok, that episode hasn't come out. Magnus Walker, if you guys, I don't know how much you know about Porsche. He's a Porsche legend. So we've gotten to talk to people that even right now, if I looked at the list, I'd be like, oh, this person. And I've really realized that it feeds something in me because as a storyteller in my career, as a writer, a storyteller, I'm very fascinated by people's origin stories and what makes them tick and why they ended up doing what they're doing and why they do what they do. So one of the things, for instance, that I've loved is asking race car drivers, are you crazy? Like, what is this? How can you see your best friend, let's say in James Hinchcliffe's case, he saw his best friend get paralyzed, Robert Wickens, right? James Hinchcliffe almost died during a crash at Indianapolis in practice. But then they recover and then they're like, strap me in, Bob, I want to go racing. Like, what is that in you? That do you have something that I don't have? And overwhelmingly, the drivers, Mark Blundell, Tom Blomqvist, Tony, James, Connor Daly, the addiction isn't to speed, it's to winning. I find that fascinating. They said if they gave me a car and an empty racetrack and I can just go as fast as I can, it wouldn't be so fun after a while. It'd be like, okay, this is boring. The addiction is to being the best on a given day, to winning. And that's what keeps them hooked. Yeah. And for instance, that's just one little thing that I've learned in interviewing people that fascinates me and sort of satiates this desire for origin stories and the trajectory of people's lives. So very lucky that we get to do that. And because of that, we're very lucky. We sometimes get invited to races by series or teams to create content on the ground, which is obviously amazing and a great opportunity. And yeah, that's what we do. We have some interviews that we haven't announced that are coming up and in the pipeline. So exciting. It's an exciting year for us.
I love that. I love the opportunity to put yourself in other people's shoes, even if it's for, an hour out of your day. I think it's incredible. It gives an opportunity for us to kind of imagine what a world would be if you were in those same shoes. So I think that's really cool. It's really impressive also what y'all have done so far and the people you get to speak to. Yeah. Because it just gives you an insight into something that you otherwise wouldn't have. So that's really, really good. Bravo to you guys. It's really awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, and the Indy 500 was actually
Thank you.
Yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We'll get into
Do I get to talk about my boyfriend?
No, I think another thing was so outside of like Business of Speed, is there anything else that you're working on an individual side that you want to kind of speak to a little bit, or just kind of it's very similar to what you have going on with
yeah, I do have a small, so I have a small marketing agency, a full service marketing agency. That is sort of my other project that I work on. It's called Lali Michelsen Marketing, and I do work as creative director and
Love that.
service clients in many different areas. As that's sort of my other business away from racing. Most of those clients have nothing to do with racing. It's all kinds of different aspects.
I see.
But you touched on my boyfriend IndyCar, so I really want to talk about him.
No, let's get into it.
All right, it's cool. So let's jump into IndyCar, because one of the biggest questions that I wanted to really ask was, what other motorsports should F1 fans, especially new ones, get into? Like, just like in general, I know IndyCar's been a huge one, and it's something that I've been meaning to kind of
hearing about it,
stick my head into and see. I see it in passing a lot. We know a driver, Max Taylor, who's in Indy Nax, who's been also crushing it. It's really, really awesome. So, but yeah. Tell us.
I'm new. I don't know anything about IndyCar.
So obviously IndyCar. I'm happy to come on and we can do like a second episode where just like compare and contrast IndyCar to F1 and like explain it to people, because I do think that in cars in general, like there's like a barrier to entry, and if people don't really understand, they're a little put off. So IndyCar, by far, if you are an open wheel fan, it will translate directly into IndyCar. There's this misconception, and I get this asked all the time when I travel, especially in Europe. They think that IndyCars only turn left, that they only race on ovals. This is not true, guys. IndyCar races on street circuits, just like Monaco, for instance. They have permanent road courses like Laguna Seca, Mid-Ohio. And they also race on ovals, but even among the ovals, there's short ovals and then there's super speedway. So there's a huge variety of racing, which means that the drivers have to be really well-rounded. They can't just excel at one discipline to be champion. You have to be good across different forms of racing, because racing on an oval is a completely different set of skills than racing in a road track, right? So these drivers are absolute gladiators. So I would no-brainer watch IndyCar. And then the other one would be IMSA, sports car racing. I really, really love sports car racing. Initially, it's a little bit tricky for people to understand why so many different cars that look so different are all racing at the same time. And what's the point? And that is the point, that you have to combat traffic. So in sports car racing, and obviously it's made a lot of news now with Max racing the 24 hours in the Nürburgring. But I'm talking IMSA, which is more North American based, but it's the same style of endurance racing. You have different kinds of cars. There's slower cars that have to be lapped consistently by the faster cars, depending on the length of the race. But that adds an element. So you can win in your class, or you can win overall. The fastest cars, obviously, typically the prototypes end up winning overall. But it's also really prestigious to win in class. So it's very fun. It's very family focused, that kind of racing. If you go to an IMSA race, it's just a vibe. There's like people making hot dogs, and they have vans and handing out drinks to everyone. It's like a really nice vibe. So
cool.
America. So America. There's eagles. Eagles fly by.
Gotcha.
Got fighter jets flying around. No, I've been looking into that stuff for a very, very long time, especially like on the European side with, the 24 hours of the Nürburgring. By the way, like Max sold, like that's the first time they were ever sold out tickets there. They was so bad that they told Max not to show up to the like the driver, like they're like driver parade, not really a driver parade, but where people get to meet the drivers, because it was just a safety hazard for him. But crazy. The fact that the Max effect with selling out the Nürburgring that's pretty damn impressive. And on top of it, it's so unfortunate what happened with him, but it was incredible to see. He was having a blast. The other drivers that were it was really funny to see, because the drivers that drive the Nürburgring, you have to be a different species of driver. It is so insanely dangerous and crazy. And they're probably known as some of the most aggressive drivers. And the fact that Max was just overtaking them like no, and they weren't making it easy at all. I will say that. But it was also funny to see some of the guys and maybe some of the slower like classes, like you were saying, because there's multiple different classes driving, just like Max Verstappen driving, just getting overtaken by him. It was just so funny. But it was just really cool to see. It's so entertaining, especially that track. It's just, guys, I've mentioned it before in the other one. Like if you watch, just there's a reason why a lot of these big manufacturers are trying to put the fastest lap on that track. And I'm talking about like McLaren, Porsche, Lamborghini. Now you have, you know, Ferrari, obviously. You know, Koenigsegg, Bugatti. They're all trying to get their production car, hypercars out there to try to do the fastest lap. And there's like this competition between manufacturers who could put the fastest lap on the Nürburgring, which is really cool. And it's just something super. It's super dangerous. Niki Lauda had that very bad accident years ago. It's the reason why F1 doesn't do the. It's too dangerous, obviously, for many reasons.
Like 7.5 minutes per lap. I mean, think about like
it's
4 or 5 actual regular F1 tracks, but kind of extended. I mean, 7.5 minutes for one lap is insane. So can you imagine what they have to go through?
But also, the issue is the woods. They're in deep forest, so that's really the problem. There's zero forgiving. Like it is like. You crash, it's
right
gonna be pretty bad. You're right. Yeah. So it's kind of good that we're not doing the Nordschleife, to be honest.
Absolutely.
It would just be
no, I think it's way
already
too dangerous
enough.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
But I think that's something that's like super like that makes it so prestigious in so many ways, where people are just like, I survived it, you know, like I drove it, you know, and I think I don't know. I have a pretty fun question that I wanted to ask. It's been on my mind for quite some time, especially to get your perspective. Lali, if you could, I mean, maybe we could end it off with this, right? But if you could name the top driver that you think in IndyCar, NASCAR, and F1, and maybe any other series, maybe one or maybe just those 3 for now, put them all in the same car, who would win?
Ooh. I already know my answer, and I don't even know NASCAR.
It can be a guy of era. It can be era past or present.
Ooh.
Present
or current.
Current.
Yeah.
Current drivers right now.
Current. Okay, so I'm gonna go my NASCAR guy. So I'll pick the guys first, and then I'll tell you who I think would win. I think for NASCAR I'm gonna pick Shane van Gisbergen because he's amazing. For IndyCar, I mean, I'd be silly not to pick Alex Palou right now, because he's in a tremendous streak.
Yeah.
And my Formula One guy, of the current drivers, I'd have to pick Fernando Alonso because I trust him. He's won in other forms of racing.
Yeah.
So that, because you said you didn't tell me what you might put them in a Civic, in a Honda. I don't know what you're gonna put them in.
Gosh.
Fair enough. This is purely racecraft.
I know.
Yeah.
So I do think that Fernando Alonso would be my horse, and that sort of, because I don't know what you're gonna give me, kind of thing. And then I think that Alonso might take it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Alonso's he's super talented. He did do IndyCar. No, with NASCAR, I apologize. I believe he did race. Well,
no, he did IndyCar. He raced the Indy 500 one. He didn't qualify the second time.
Yeah.
And then he also won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in a Toyota that really it was a class above everything else. But I do think that guy is a true competitor. He reminds me a lot of Mario Andretti, who could pretty much win in anything that you put him in. So there's my.
Okay.
You about to stir up the internet for this.
One. Clip that.
Exactly. Maybe that's why they want to say like a very obvious, Max Verstappen.
That was great.
Yeah.
Lewis. Yeah.
No, I think in any kind of regular like car, really, because it kind of goes back to years ago when Senna was alive and they put all those Formula One drivers in the same BMW, and Senna was just going away. So he was just driving away like clearly a lot faster than a lot of those guys. But It's one of those controversial, takes on like, oh, they're different. It's different style of driving, hypotheticals, blah, blah, blah. What are the conditions? Are they feeling good? Is their stomach hurting? Do they have, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think right now, the best driver right now, I personally believe that you could put him in anything is Max Verstappen, and he will give him some time and he will find his bearings and do really well. Yeah. And I hope to see Max do outside of the GT racing that he's doing and some of the other stuff. He did the GT 500 in the wets with that other driver and put in a faster lap than him, which is pretty phenomenal. But I would love to see somebody from F1 cross over into NASCAR or cross over into IndyCar, like more modern F1. I know Alonso's done it, but some of the guys that are up there now,
Isn't there?
Well, we have Marcus Ericsson there, Romain Grosjean. So there are some guys that have raced.
I know,
and historically, like Takuma Sato used to be in F1. So that we have had them, and Marcus Ericsson actually won the Indy 500 a couple years ago. So it has happened. Yeah. But they don't. It's almost when their F1 career is over, right? It'd be great to do like a crossover while they're still active, right? Like as a guest appearance, so to speak.
Exactly.
And that would be pretty fantastic. They'd be shocked because IndyCar doesn't have power steering, and the F1 lads are very spoiled with their power steering. So I think they'd be quite shocked that those cars are a lot tougher to drive than they might think.
Look, while F1 is spending the next few years fixing the regulations, Max just go and spend some time just doing this other stuff. He does
a bunch of different things, which is just kind of crazy. I do think he's probably one of the top drivers in the world right now, and you put him in anything, he'll probably do good at it. He's just
for sure.
It's wild. But I don't know if there's any other questions maybe you guys have for Lali, or maybe
I think I'm just incredibly impressed with what you're doing. I think your knowledge is really commendable, and I wish one day to be as knowledgeable as you. I think you're an inspiration to not just up and coming podcasts such as ourselves, but I'm sure young females who want to get into this space. I think we need more of that, and we commend you and we appreciate you being here.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's been a blast. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'll see you guys in New York for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah, we have to text you about that.
Yeah, we're actually
special things.
Once we stop recording, once we stop recording, we'll chat a little bit.
Well, thanks again.
Yeah. Well, again,
thank you guys so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I'm happy you had a good time. Again, this is just kind of like our style. We like to banter, we like to talk. We just kind of allow the conversation to flow, and and we're hoping to have, you on again, and obviously, Will Buxton, James Hinchcliffe, if you want to join, she could vouch for us.
I'll call my friends.
Exactly.
Yeah, make a call, We'd love to talk IndyCar with Will Buxton and you. That would be cool, honestly, because I know he's been big on that. But anyways.
For the viewers, that would be a great episode.
For the viewers and listeners, if you have any questions for us, for Lali, any questions at all, leave a comment down below, shoot us a DM, whatever you need. But we appreciate everyone watching.
Yes.
Like, comment, subscribe, do all that other great stuff.
Yes, go follow Lali on Instagram. Follow the Business of Speed. Do all those things.
Yeah.
And
where can they follow you, Lali?
Yeah.
They can follow me at Lali_speed. Lali is LALI_speed. And there you can find the link to Business of Speed from there.
Love that. Awesome. We'll be sure to put it up.
We'll do that.
Sweet.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks again.
Peace.
See ya.
Ciao for now.